It's March the 10th, 1966. 4 warplanes roar through the A Shau Valley, deep in the jungle of Vietnam. They're A-1E Skyraiders from the 1st Air Commando, racing to aid a base under attack.
It's impossible to find them in these weather conditions.
Leading the charge is Major Bernard F. Fisher.
Come on, nothing's impossible.
Visibility is terrible. Cloud cover is heavy and low, keeping the flight stuck in an 800-foot band between the treetops and total blindness. Black smoke rises from the jungle ahead, and it marks their destination. Lost in the sea of green lies the wrecked remnants of an airbase. It's littered with craters after 2 days of heavy shelling. And its soldiers have been pushed back all the way to a select few bunkers, holding on by the skin of their teeth. It's a desperate last stand as they await rescue. But such rescue isn't imminent. The 1st Air Commando is here to help them and hold. The 4 planes fly over the base for the first time that day and are instantly greeted by heavy small arms fire. One of the 4 planes is almost instantly struck square on the windshield. The pilot's unharmed, but he can see nothing through the shattered canopy, so he pulls away before firing a single shot. They're down a plane, but that won't stop them. Fisher spots a concentration of Viet Cong soldiers underneath, and together the 3 planes dive for their first run of the day. Coming in at speed, they unleash the A-1E's 20mm cannons, pounding the ground with a rain of high explosives, tearing through the enemy line. Fisher is pulling out of the dive when suddenly, a bright orange flash lights up the grey sky. He looks back, and to his horror, he sees the plane of a fellow pilot, Major Dafford Myers, completely engulfed in flames, the trail of fire emerging from the aircraft's engine and stretching all the way past its tail. Myers gets on the radio calling emergency, to which Fisher shouts back at him to bail immediately. But Myers doesn't, aware that he's flying far too low for the parachute to open in time. Thinking quickly, he ditches his bombs into the jungle and turns in for the base runway. The fireball slams against the ground, slides across the runway, scraping and sparking as it comes to a grinding halt at the very tail end of the runway. Fisher looks at the wreckage burning from above, and to his great relief, he witnesses a figure emerging from the flames, scurrying away. He overflies the scene of the crash and spots his fallen comrade lying down in a drainage ditch. Myers waves at him as he flies past, confirming he's okay, but Fisher knows he's far from safe. The runway is firmly in the Viet Cong's hands. It's surrounded on all sides by enemy forces. Fisher radios their base, informing them of the crash landing, and requests an immediate rescue.
Man down, we need a copter.
But the reply is disheartening.
We'll have one for you in 20 minutes.
Okay, I'm right back on your
With all
thing.
his might, Fisher desperately balances defending both Myers and the base soldiers. He's in constant communication with the 2nd A-1E, relaying enemy contacts and coordinating the desperate defense. They strafe advancing enemy formations relentlessly and drop their heavy bombs on the most important positions. The 2 planes keep it up for 10 frenetic minutes. Fisher has run out of bombs and is quickly running out of the 20mm ammo. He radios the base requesting an update on the rescue, only to be told they don't know, and it'll probably be 20 more minutes. Fisher curses, even with the help of 2 other planes from the other squadron. He cannot hold for that long. His mind races in desperation. The rescue won't arrive. He must do something, and do it quick.
How long is this runway?
He radios the base one more time and asks about the length of the runway below him. The operator replies that it's 3,500 feet long, a little over 1,000 meters. Fisher knows the A-1 needs just 3,000 feet for landing.
Hey, Bernie,
He could do it. He's preparing for the approach when the same operator once again radios him. It's a mistake. The actual runway length is only 2,500 feet, way too short. Fisher hesitates upon hearing the news, but he's already made up his mind. Full of determination, he broadcasts to both the base and his fellow A-1 that he's going to land for Myers anyway. A voice immediately replies telling him not to, but Fisher doesn't even know who the voice belongs to, for he doesn't pay attention. He cuts the engine's throttle and extends the air brakes as he brings the aircraft around for approach. Columns of smoke rise from nearby hangars, obscuring his view of the runway, but he's committed. The plane slows all the way down to its stall speed, barely staying in the air, as he punches through the black smoke and lands hard on the runway. Fisher immediately slams on the brakes as the aircraft speeds down the runway, bouncing and shaking as it runs over small craters and debris littered across the strip. He races past the runway's midpoint, and alarms begin to ring in his head. He's going too fast. The end of the runway is coming in quick, and there's nothing more he can do. The brakes are red hot, and they could burst at any second. He looks straight ahead with despair as he realizes he's headed directly to a fuel dump, protected by nothing but a small dirt mound. He closes his eyes and prays. The plane strikes the mound, jolting it upward, just like it sped over a speed bump. It comes clattering down on the other side and strikes a pile of 55-gallon barrels with its wings, spilling their contents all over the floor. Quickly, Fisher throttles up the engine and hurries to get out of there. Fortunately, the propeller was untouched. The plane emerges from the dump, battered, but still working. Myers peeks out of his ditch, waving his hands for Fisher to see. He quickly taxis the plane over and stops in front of him. Myers runs into the open, and in that exact moment, Fisher hears bullets striking his fuselage. Viet Cong soldiers are pushing his position. Fisher checks out of the window for Myers, but he's disappeared. He places his face against the glass, but sees nothing. Then checks his cockpit mirrors, still nothing. Fear starts to take hold of him. Myers must have been hit. He opens the canopy and peeks out into the middle of the gunfire, and immediately sees Myers holding onto the leading edge of the wing, being lambasted by the wind of the prop, unable to get up. He quickly grabs Myers, pulls him onto the wing, and down head first into the cabin. Myers falls unceremoniously into the seat, and Fisher hurriedly slams the throttle to full. The plane starts accelerating down the runway as Fisher closes the cockpit and hastily sets the plane up for takeoff. They pick up speed. The rough runway surface violently shakes the airframe. All the while, he can still hear the bullet strikes against the aircraft's airframe. The end is approaching fast. The plane is not speeding quickly enough. Fisher can feel their doom fast approaching. They're not going to make it. He pulls hard on the stick and just hopes for the best. The plane tries to lift, but it's still not quick enough. Extremely slowly and lazily, the machine begins to rotate. And on the very last feet of runway, the plane miraculously takes off into the sky. The men are shaken, especially Myers. He's covered head to toe in mud from the ditch, and they both know he must be badly burned underneath it, but he's alive. Halfway back to their base, they receive a transmission.
The chopper is ready and near you. We might be able to save your man.
Thanks. We already got him out.
The two surviving planes successfully arrive back at base. Medics greet Fisher right away to tend to Myers, but he refuses to leave the plane, still deeply shaken. He was eventually helped out and was admitted to the hospital with multiple, but surprisingly minor burns, and would be discharged the next day and make a full recovery. Major Bernard F. Fisher would be awarded the Medal of Honor for his incredible bravery on that day. He went on to have a long career in the Army and retired to be with his wife and children, passing away peacefully in his home in Boise, Idaho in 2014. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and please watch more videos of ours. Thank you.